Okay,
Okay.
great. So I think it's
Just
yeah.
just a second, Ohad. Okay. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Starknet All Core Devs Call 36. It's been exactly 2 weeks since our last conversation, which means we are now 24 days into the post uh, upgrade era. And last time we had quite an in-depth discussion about the different challenges, the reorgs, and the various technical issues that emerged, and how each of our teams was responding to them. So before starting the call, I would like to tell some rules, which is like we'll be recording this conversation for our archives, and please keep yourselves muted when you're not speaking. And cameras as are always welcome, as I say. And today I'm particularly interested in understanding how the recovery and stabilization efforts have progressed. 2 weeks ago, we were still very much in response mode to the deployment issues. And now, with nearly a month of data, we could have a clearer picture of system stability and effectiveness of the various fixes that were implemented. So, the first point on our agenda is network stability assessment, which Ohad will help us with. Yeah, Ohad, you can start with an introduction by introducing yourself, and then maybe we can have a conversation about the network stability.
Okay, gladly. So nice to be here. I'm Ohad. I'm a product manager in Starkware. I'm in charge of Starknet and Sharp product roadmap. Um, yeah, okay. So we've actually had several issues. I can start from referring to the very big issue we had on September 2nd, which we
Yeah.
also talked
So
about.
I think we had a detailed analysis of what happened during the deployment, like the Cairo Zero bugs, the Ethereum L1 node issue, and those two significant reorgs in the last call. So what we would want to know is how the network has been performing since then. And it was also mentioned by Starkware last time there was stress testing going on along the ecosystem with different teams.
Mhm.
And how did the scaling up of that transaction volume result till now? So yeah, you can start
Okay.
with this.
So, stability since September 2nd, we had several much more minor incidents, but they are still obviously unacceptable long term. We had one downtime of around 30 minutes. It was, let me fetch quickly the date. Um, it was on Wednesday, the September 10th, and we had 15 minutes downtime on the 12th and 9 minutes downtime on the 15th. Since the 15th of September, Starknet is on 10-day no downtime strike, which I hope will bring to the triple digit soon. All of those downtimes have been created by different core issues. I can share the detailed report with you if you're interested. We have it ready. All of the issues that led to those three downtimes have been fixed. One of them is a bug that we fixed. Another one is not careful enough manual operation, which we added safeguard against. And the third one is non-optimized use in Aerospike that caused Aerospike writes to fail and like enter into a retry mechanism, which we also fixed our policy of writing into Aerospike, and it resolved this issue. If anyone have follow-up questions, please ask.
So Ohad, can you give us a little bit detailed information about what exactly happened when you said like there are a few issues that happened, like some bugs which you encountered. So what were those? If you can give a little more detail.
So I'll share with you the incident report we have here. So basically on Wednesday, we had two validators that were restarted at the same time. This is due to an error in the operation of the network. Alert triggered, and then obviously two nodes that are down in the same time was also how everything began on September 2nd. So we were really careful in operating the network and triple checked that all the three nodes operating in consensus are in sync. So we will not have another reorg. which is why it took us roughly 30 minutes to operate this issue. As a lesson learned from this, and also September 2nd, we created also a script that will do it automatically next time, so it will take much, much less time. And we also fine-tuned the alerts. Here it took us 4 minutes of downtime to even get an alert, which is unacceptable. Then the second incident we had on Friday. Here is the one that we had errors in Aerospike. Here after 2 minutes alert triggered, and then we very quickly changed the parameters of batch writing into Aerospike. Just FYI, the maximum allowed by Aerospike documentation to write at once is 2000 updates. Initially, we used 800 updates, which is allowed by the documentation, but for some reason still caused things to fail. We reduce it significantly from 1800 elements written in one batch to 30 elements, which is still enough to not slow down Starknet, but Aerospike manages those shorter requests much, much more gracefully. So we did it. This is the configuration we now run on. This has happened in the committer, which calculates all the hashes after blocks are ready. For version 0.14.2, we will replace the committer implementation to not use Aerospike. So this issue would be behind us even in the theoretical level. Then the last incident we've had is on Monday, September 15th. We had a request to write to the centralized components database called Sender. This, like the stadiums that the decentralized node agreed upon, this request stalled and did not return. So here again, we just resetted this centralized component and block production resumed very quickly. We had overall 9 minutes of downtime. And we fixed the issue on mainnet. We had there a mechanism where if this request isn't coming back in a few seconds, there is an automatic failure. Previously, we didn't have such mechanisms. So this issue is guaranteed to not reoccur. Happy to share this document with whomever interested if you need it.
Yeah. So could you share this document in the Darknet Full Node Collab Slack channel after the call, if
Sure.
possible? And thank you, Art, for the detailed update. And we can move on to the next point on our agenda, which is from client teams. We'll take recovery and performance updates. So let's hear from each of the client teams that how their systems have been performing and what improvements have been made. So we'll start with Pathfinder, Christian. 2 weeks ago, you had released that hotfix for the reorg cache issue, and we're working through the 0.22 and 0.23 releases. So how has the 0.23 performance been, and particularly those pre-confirmed data polling improvements that you did? And are you seeing any latency benefits that you were targeting?
Okay, so in general, we've seen latency go down, and we haven't received reports with about issues with the new polling algorithm. However, we've seen some inconsistencies with the feeder gateway pre-confirmed data responses. They are not always following what has been documented, and this in turn have caused inconsistent JSON RPC replies in Pathfinder. So some users have reported these things like when you are fetching a transaction receipt for a pre-confirmed transactions, Pathfinder sometimes returns a receipt for a different transaction and stuff like that. This issue has been fixed, and we have a workaround for this inconsistency in the feeder gateway response. And we'll release a new version of Pathfinder hopefully later today. This was probably the biggest issue we have seen. And now we have a good understanding of the problem and a fix for it. So that's most of it. Otherwise, it has been going fairly smoothly.
Okay. Thank you, Christian. And now we can move to Rodrigo with Juno. So, Rodrigo, you mentioned last time that we were working on improving the reorg detection mechanism and some plans to fix a with a deployment shortly after our last call. So, how did that reorg detection improvement go, and how have been the results after the tests? And are you seeing any better performance in terms of handling chain reorganizations and issues that come in the chain right now? And also, you mentioned that the sync mechanism optimization work is being done. So how has things been there in that area?
Okay, so yeah, so the reorgs, yeah, we implemented it locally. We haven't tested it in production. Locally, there has been no need to. But yeah, but before we were like every time there was like at the beginning of there was a bit muddy waters and Starknet gave a um, there was like the warnings like, oh, it's block production is slow. Locally, there were no more reorgs. But yeah, now it should be fixed. Like what happened before, just for context, is that would wait for the reorg change to be bigger than the older chain. Now, as soon as the reorg is detected, we start reorging, and also we also make sure that it's actually a reorg and not that a sequencer lagged behind or anything like that. Regarding the syncing mechanism, yes, we had to make a refactor on the way we sync the code, because now we are polling for preconfirmed, polling for pending, and then they have this notion of related with improved UX, and yeah, like adding it to the current code would make it very hard to test. So we refactor it, and then we also made the release, which is on June of 15.6, which was released last Friday. And we also, but in fact, it's not the last release. The last release, 15.7, which has an improvement over that because we had a small bug. So that has been Juno so far on regarding the Starknet. We have some bug reports we're investigating, but they seem to be unrelated. And that's it. That's it for Juno.
Okay, thank you, Rodrigo. And next we can move to Carnot. So we have Mohit here today with us. So if Mohit, you can start by introducing yourself, and then I can go about the agenda items.
Hey everyone, am I audible?
Yes, Mohit, you're audible.
I'm Mohit and I'm from Team Carnot and we have been working on Madara for a while. About the updates going forward, Hemang from the Carnot team would be handling the updates. So he already had the pointers, so I will let Hemang introduce himself and start the pointers as well.
Thanks a lot, Mohit. So, Hemang here, guys, and moving forward, I'll be giving the updates for the full node call. So, talking about Madara, since the last call that we had, we have merged the 14.0 support to Madara, and we just left with the RPC 0.9 to have a complete E2E support for 14.0. Moreover, we have been replaying some Starknet blocks to see how Madara is performing, and we have done like 150K blocks replayed, and it's been going fairly smooth. And now we are preparing for 14.0 replay of Starknet blocks into Madara. Talking about the reorg, we have achieved a full node reorg locally, and we are testing, and we are about to start with the sequencer reorg as to how to go about it and how to take it to production. Moving on, talking about SNOS 14.0 PRs, we have raised almost all of the PRs out there to KSS. And in case you guys want to check, please check it out. And we are just working on the E2E test, and they should be merged before the next call that we have for the full node. We have also done we have also smoothened out some tech debts that we had. We have done a E2E testing. We have created an E2E testing for our Madara, which tests the whole stack out there, Madara, the orchestrator, and its bootstrapper. And we have updated all the Starknet dependencies to the latest dependencies that we could find. That's also done. And we're aiming to get 14.0 ready as soon as possible. Hopefully, by the next call, we'll be able to give you the update that we are full on for that. So that's been the updates from Kannad and Madara's side.
Okay. Thank you, Hemant. Thank you, Mohit. And then we can move on to consensus implementation coordination on agenda, which is we'll have Yasmina. So Yasmina, last time you mentioned that potentially you'll be doing a follow-up Malachite release to address some identified issues. So has that follow-up release been materialized? And if so, what improvements did we include?
So
And you were also going to reach out to full node teams to understand what Malachite version they are currently running. And so what were your discovery from this? And the final thing is the Apollo sequencer upgrade coordination for the testing environment. So how the progress on that side?
yeah, thanks a lot, Ayush. So yeah, exactly. We have not cut the release yet because we're still there was a minor, like a corner case in the way the wall worked that was fixed. The other bug was related. It's not really a bug, but it's a weird interaction our sync engine has with the consensus reactor, where they share a data structure, which could potentially jeopardize consensus when both are running. So we were refactoring that. That should hopefully be done, let's say this week, and then we might cut a release after that. We have synced with Pathfinder, and they are running the latest Malachite release. It's still going smoothly, so there have not been any problems. And we have discussed with them also the interop repo. It does not really seem that it's bringing great value to them in terms of the way they think of sort of interoperability. I think when the repo was started, it was more to showcase how would a Malachite dummy sequencer on top of Malachite work with Starknet sequencer. And again, I have not heard from other teams. If anybody else finds this particular work stream useful, we're happy to guide them through it. We did clean it up in the sense that it now fully works and is reproducible with the old version of the Starknet sequencer. But note that it's not really the full sequencer. We had a Shahak was basically cleaning up the sequencer code for us from stuff that was not really needed. So we have not started upgrading to Apollo because at this point it doesn't really seem that it's beneficial for people. So in case that ever changes, we can reconsider. Simply because we do not have a full node we don't have a real full node implementation. This was more showcasing how the Protos and the networking works together. And in case and that, for example, for Pathfinder, it seems that they're a bit beyond that now with their in testing infra already. So it's not really helpful for them to go backwards. And then in terms of sort of team stability and onboarding, I think we're now fully there and moving as full speed ahead. So again, happy to support if there's any questions with Malachite integration from other full node teams. And yeah, that's pretty much it from last time.
Okay. Thank you, Yasmina. And about the P2P network status, we have no current updates right now, as I discussed with Shahak. So that's the reason it is not included on the agenda. Other than that, any other observation or concern as we approach the 1 month mark since deployment? If anyone wants to raise anything or ask anything. Okay. So so we have gone from what was entered. Sorry, is someone saying something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the reorg documentations, if we could find some, so that we can implement the sequencer reorgs properly.
Okay. We can get that from someone from Starkware can help us with this, I believe. So I think Ohad, you can give us this document, right?
What exactly do you need?
Like the reorg implementations for the sequencer. If there's any documentation about it, it will help us quite a lot.
I'll check with the team. I think right now reorg is very manual and use the fact that we are still centralized.
Okay. Okay. So thank you all for joining this call today. And it's great to see everyone working through these challenges. And the network's recovery speaks to the quality of the engineering and coordination across all of us. And so, yeah, everyone, have a nice day. See you all in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Bye.